After having heard from the regulator, let's consider the industry's viewpoint. To tell us more about the industry's perspective, we have with us today Jorge Hinojosa, who is the Director General of Trade Association JDigital. Jorge, welcome. Thank you for being here, and I would like to invite you to the stage. Welcome.
Thank you, Willem. Morning. Buenos días. Well, I have here the Mikel Arana speech, but I prefer to read mine. Particularly because probably we are not 100% agree. First of all, thank you, Willem, for inviting me and JDigital to participate in this encounter. Really important for us, and I think it's a good opportunity to share what is the real situation of the gaming in Spain. As you know, most of you know, JDigital is the Spanish online gambling association. We represent over 80% of the sector, and including licensed operator, payment platform, services providers, etc. Especially mainly our lawyer, Santi, Esija, and any other that we help to us every day to improve our work, and they give us a good acknowledgement. We are a non-profit association whose main objective is to promote safe and responsible environment and conditions for the online gambling activity as a responsible form of entertainment. Our mission is to promote the development of a balanced and competitive regulation while protecting the interests of the agents involved in this sector, users and operators, and ensure compliance with the obligation of operator. But I have to confess something. Directing the Spanish online gambling, I have to confess two questions. Directing the Spanish Online Gambling Association is the most complicated job I have ever had in my life. Well, the second one is to speak in English, but I'll try to do much better I can. So I hope you understand. But it's not easy. In every interaction, in every conversation, in every public appearance, I must start from scratch. And I wonder, why? Why do we need to convince the society that gambling is a perfect legal activity? Why do we need to convince the society that gambling is a highly regulated activity? Why do we to convince society that gambling is a safe activity? Why do we still need to explain that Spain is the second country in the European Union with the least number of gambling addicts? Why do we have to convince not only to the civil society, but also the regulator and decision maker that the industry doesn't want to generate gambling addicts? Instead, we want to identify them before they become gambling addicts. Why no political force want to appear in a picture next to the sector? Honestly, I don't know why. And I believe this is something we should discuss in meetings like this. Despite being a leading industry in the digital economy, nobody wants to be related to a sector that has a highly technological acknowledgement in terms of security transaction, electronic payment, identification, control, etc. Despite its logical and traditional relation to sport, nobody in the sport arena wants anything to do with business that is now unable to sponsor national clubs and competition to compete at the same level as other countries and markets. Of course, ours is a complex job. It's a complex environment, and it's a difficult perspective. But we like challenges, and there is still something to fight for. JDigital has been fighting for more than 10 years for a better ecosystem in which online gambling can develop, generate more wealth, more employment, more innovation, and above all, safer environment for consumers. We have a lot to contribute and a lot to say as a sector and as an economic activity. This is why we are here, and that is why we'll continue to fight. Let's take a little look to industry in the past, in the present, and for the future. Online gambling became a legal activity in 2012 when the law that regulates the business came into force. I am not going to use more time to explain, but from that moment, the commitment of the industry with the compliance of all the legislation that rule the development and practice of the activity is undeniable. Not only do operators respect and comply with all regulation, but the operators have also led some relevant self-regulation themselves as well. As mentioned, the Ley de Juego was approved in 2011 and came into force in 2012. This created a framework for the industry to grow and evolve. However, these past years, some major regulations, like the Royal Decree on Commercial Communication, as our General Director commented before, have been approved, making the Spanish market less appealing to the sector. Despite being one of the most controlled, regulated industry in the Spanish economy and one of the safe markets in Europe, the online gambling sector in Spain is marked by an even stricter regulation imposed by the Ministry of Consumer Affairs. Unfortunately, the Spanish regulator work in base on exerting control and setting more restriction on the sector, rather than actually regulation the activity, taking into account the expertise of the operator and the real context of the industry in our country. And these factors are creating doubts, reasonable doubts, about the legal stability and future of the gambling sector in Spain. And this is exactly what any business and enterprise asks for when looking for potential location. We have some clear examples of this. Spain has not yet seen the actual effect with the time and perspective of the Royal Decree on advertising that affect the gambling industry, and then regulator has already approved in a second Royal Decree on cyber gambling. And now we know that we are working in a third Royal Decree about the limit of deposit for players. Stability and timings are very important when legislating an industry and when helping it grow. Neither the gambling sector nor the regulator should be thinking this is a reflection about this year or in 4 years. We have to think in the perspective of 10 years. How do we want the market, the gambling market, in 10 years? Not at the end of this legislature, but doesn't matter what happens in the general election. We have to think about 10 years. The Royal Decree on Commercial Communication has slowed down the growth of the gambling industry in Spain. It has also made it less appealing to operators, as I said before. Since the approval in 2021 of the Royal Decrees, the sector in Spain has been immersed in a trend of stagnation. The DGOJ report, Gambling, about the online gambling, reveals that in 2022, the average monthly number of new accounts fell by 47% compared with the 2021. Investment in marketing was 19% lower. Advertising fell by 34%, and the amount spent of sponsorship fell by 85%. These figures and evolution of the sector generate a lot of uncertainty for the players that make up the national online gambling ecosystem. In addition, this reality makes it less attractive for a new operator. Regulation limiting or banning advertising in the sector are having detrimental effects, not only in Spain, but also that we have to recognize in other European countries like Italy, where the own government, the Italy government, is considering lifting the advertising ban, as known as Decreto Digital. And we have a new initiative in Netherlands and in England. Given this context, we, the industry, must remain that advertising, contrary to what some people may believe, is a key tool to channelizing the citizen to legal gambling website with guaranteed responsible, safe, and legal gambling. The government has recently approved a second Royal Decree, the Royal Decree on Safer Gaming Environment. First and foremost, I want to stress that the industry has always and will always support regulation that protect users and foster safe gambling. However, what's more important, in our opinion, is to develop and implement legislation that guarantee its effectiveness. In this regard, we believe that a legislation that approaches the issue from a general point of view and ignores specificity is unlikely to achieve its objectives. For instance, the approved Royal Decree on Safer Gambling includes age limitation and establishment of economic limits in general terms, without taking into account the economic characteristics of each player, a factor that can reduce the effectiveness of this regulation. In spite of these challenges, we want to focus on the opportunities that open in the upcoming months to improve the security of the sector. For this reason, we are already working together with the regulator to develop a system that limits joint deposit between operators, address the problem of fraud in the sector, which is reflected in the figure of economic transactions, and define the main risk points associated with gambling activity within the framework of the presentation of to the European Commission of a model of standardized market between European countries. The increase of illegal gambling in Spain in the past year, we can talk a few seconds about this. Illegal gambling poses a great risk for users, as they do not respect the security measures. From 2018 to 2020, the DGOJ has closed 603 illegal websites offering gambling services. In the past 18 months, the Ministry of Consumer Affairs has sanctioned 28 companies for offering gambling services in our country without having a license to do it. These 28 fines represent the majority of sanctions imposed by the JDigital recently. These fines have exceeded 123 million euros, an amount that is practically impossible for the state to collect because these operators are located in tax haven and escape the control of the national regulator. This figure, in addition of highlighting the rise of illegal gambling in our country, attract, of course, the people we do not want to be as part as user or player in this market. Another major topic to consider with regard to the context of gambling in Spain is the actual evolution of problem gambling. Just a few data. Spain is the second country in Europe with a lower level of problematic gambling, just after Denmark. Data from National Plan on Drugs reveal that the rate of problem gambling in Spain has been decreasing in recent years from 2.1% of the population age between 15 and 64 in 2018 to 1.3 in 2022. A recent study carried out by the Spanish Foundation for Dual Pathology found that 100% of people with pathological gambling suffer from another disorder. Problematic gambling does not benefit any actor in the industry. Licensed operators are fully committed to fighting against problematic gambling and comply with all the regulation to work in this direction. And we encourage the regulator to work together with the industry, valuing their expertise to develop rules and protocol to ensure safer and more responsible practices. In a context marked by digital economy, I'm going to finishing, Spain has the opportunity to position itself as a leading location for tech company linked to the online gambling system. According to the latest data from CNMC, the e-commerce sector in Spain grew over 28% in Q3 of 2022 compared to Q3 2021. The online gambling industry was the sector with the highest number of transactions, and it was the sixth that generated most of the revenue. The online gambling activity is a reality in Spain and is part of our culture. Let's make the most of it becoming an appealing location for the sector. Cities like Ceuta and Melilla who offer very interesting fiscal benefit to operators and positioning themselves in test hubs in the south of Europe, and attractive, highly prepared tech professional, high level of acknowledgement, and many possibilities to the development of the sector. And I have three final considerations. We are in a good moment to open a big window to work together with the regulator and the rest of the decision maker about how to make, thinking about 10 years, not at the end of the year, no thinking about the next election. We have to try to improve our market thinking altogether in 10 years, that's my opinion, about how to make a stronger market, more competitive, safer, and we need a stable legal framework. I will give you an example. During the last two royal decrees, we have been to attend from two discussions in the parliament. Audiovisual contents law, where to put the provision, the publicity except from 1 to 5. So we have one royal decree and we change in the law. And now we have the attention to the client law with another modification of the royal, the safer environment about the use of the Spanish to attend to the user. So we have not only the royal decree, we have to pay attention to all the regulation changing because they are thinking in every moment about the gaming sector. So we need a stable legal framework for 10 years to know the rules and all people working in the same direction. The second one, consumers have the right to know the offered services and products, but the operator have the right to present these offers and these products to inform about them. This is the best option that we have to canalize the legal demand, the legal offer to the user. Regardless of the resolution in 3 years, the Constitutional Court or the Supreme Court about our claim, we have to work on how to find way to explain to consumers in Spain what is the offer and the product that the licensed operator offer in Spain. We have, in the other side, the illegal webs offering every day in any moment, and we are generating two different markets. Legal and non-legal has not the same tools. And finally, JDigital must grow. We have the 80%, but we have some operator out of the JDigital. I would like to invite them to incorporate because we have to be stronger. To grow in numbers of members, to grow in competence and tools, to be helpful for our society, to work with all stakeholders next to us for a better gambling market and fight for a better reputation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Jorge. Please stay there for a minute. We have the opportunity for one or two quick questions. One question from me as a quick in between. Jorge, what do you think is the single most important thing the industry can still do to make gambling safer?
Well, I think that not only to apply to a good implement of the royal decree, we have to work together with the same data to analyze correctly where is the problem, who has the problem. In general, to speak, when we have a problem, of course, it's one step, but it's not enough.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions from the room? We have a few minutes, 1 or 2 minutes, to do quick questions. Anybody? Any
no
questions
problem,
from
because during the coffee or along the day, we can share whatever in any moment.
Okay, perfect.
Okay?
Great. Jorge, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And also for speaking English.
Yeah. Well, thank
So
you.
well.